Welcome to part 2 of MCQ video. Students, in this section I have chosen the activity for you which has first of all 3 questions where you are to answer in any order, and then I have chosen 4 more questions which are MCQs. So then let us understand this activity. Again students, I will help you to go through all keywords. यहाँ पर हम समझने की कोशिश करते हैं कि कौन से हमारे कीवर्ड्स हैं. सो क्वेश्चन इज which 3 factors does macros tutor advise him to consider when selecting a course. यानी कि कौन से 3 फैक्टर्स मैक्रो ट्यूटर एडवाइस कंसिडर सेलेक्टिंग कोर्स, ये हमारे कीवर्ड्स बन जाएंगे. क्वेश्चन कहता है कि कौन से 3 फैक्टर्स मैक्रो का ट्यूटर उसको एडवाइस करता है कोर्स को सेलेक्ट करने के लिए. रेडी विथ कीवर्ड्स. फर्दर ऑप्शन ए पॉसिबिलिटी स्पेशलाइजेशन, स्पेशलाइजेशन की पॉसिबिलिटी हो. रेलेवेंस फ्यूचर करियर, फ्यूचर करियर के लिए वो रेलेवेंट हो यानी कि इंपॉर्टेंट हो. पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ कोर्स, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कोर्स आप पकड़ें. असेसमेंट मैथड्स, रेंज टॉपिक्स, रेपुटेशन ऑफ लेक्चरर. राइट, रेडी विथ कीवर्ड्स. अब हम आगे चलते हैं. So question numbers 15 to 18. Question number 15, first of all, why does macros tutor advise him to avoid team management course? Now macro tutor बार बार आ रहा है तो अब हम इसको कीवर्ड नहीं बनाएंगे, हम अंडरलाइन करते हैं एडवाइस अवॉइड टीम मैनेजमेंट कोर्स. गॉट स्टूडेंट्स, क्यों वो उसको अवॉइड करने के लिए कह रहा है हम उसको देखते हैं. रिपीट वर्क ऑलरेडी डन. गॉट दैट, मैक्रो को भी मैं कीवर्ड नहीं मानूंगा. Then B, intended students at lower level. Fine, समझ आ रही है बात. Then may take too much time. So question number 15 is complete. Then question number 16, why does macro want to do dissertation? यानी कि macro बात करना शुरू करेगा और वो dissertation के बारे में बात करेगा, तो आप अंडरलाइन कर सकते हैं why want to do dissertation. Fine, क्यों वो करना चाहता है. Things help his future career. ठीक है. Would like to do detailed study, already done some work for it. Got that? तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 भी हमारे यहाँ पर हो जाता है. 17 की तरफ चलते हैं. फाइन, सो हेयर इज अगेन मैक्रोस ट्यूटर. अक्सर होता क्या है कि इफ 2 people are interacting then questions happen turn by turn. मीन्स एक बार ए स्पीकर बोलेगा उसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन हो जाएगा, फिर दूसरी बार बी स्पीकर बोलेगा उसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन हो जाएगा. सो 17th क्वेश्चन इज अगेन फॉर मैक्रोस ट्यूटर. सो मैक्रोस ट्यूटर आप अंडरलाइन कर लें. सो अबाउट डिसर्टेशन ऑनलाइन. सो डिसर्टेशन ऑनलाइन इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कीवर्ड हियर. ओके, मूव टू ऑप्शंस. टॉपिक टू नैरो, बी यूजफुल यानी कि इतना यूजफुल नहीं है, इट इज ऑफ लिमिटेड यूज. आप ये भी बात साथ के साथ दिमाग में रख लें. देन डेटा अवेलेबल अनसुटेबल. फाइन, जो इसका डेटा अवेलेबल है दैट इज अनसुटेबल. एंड रिसर्च प्लान टू कॉम्प्लिकेटेड. एट द सेम टाइम यू शुड ऑल्सो लुक फॉर अदर वर्ड्स फॉर कॉम्प्लिकेटेड. मीन्स कॉम्प्लेक्स, वेरी डिफिकल्ट, इंट्रिकेट. देन क्वेश्चन नंबर 18 नाउ इज अबाउट मैक्रो अगेन. What does macro decide to do about dissertation? यानी कि what macro decide about dissertation? Fine. So उसने क्या करना है dissertation के अंदर? Contact potential interviewees, change another topic, discuss with Professor Briggs. Fine. So now let us start with audio.
Hi, Marco. Come in.
Thanks. I've got a bit stuck trying to select courses for next semester. Could you help me, please?
Of course. Sit down.
Oh.
First of all, most people just go for the areas of business that they're interested in. But even if something doesn't look very stimulating, it's important that you can use it once you get a job. It's not much good choosing areas that aren't going to be helpful later on.
Right. I want to go into management, so I'll need to think about that. And should I start specialising in a particular area yet?
I don't think that's wise at this stage. It's better to aim for a wide variety of subjects, especially as management covers so many possibilities. You shouldn't be limiting your choices for later on.
Yes, I see.
You should also look at how the course is made up. Will you have regular seminars and tutorials, for example, as well as lectures?
Okay. Some of the lecturers are quite big names in their fields, aren't they?
Mhm.
Should I aim to go to their courses?
Well, remember that the lecturers who aren't well known may still be very good teachers. I'd say we have a consistently high standard of teaching in this department, so you don't need to worry about it.
Well, that's a great help.
Now, last time we met, you mentioned doing team management, didn't you?
That's right. I'm still quite keen on the idea.
The trouble is that because of changes in the content of various courses, team management overlaps with the Introduction to Management course you took in your first year. So what you learn from it would be too little for the amount of time you'd have to spend on it.
I'll drop that idea then. Have you had a chance to look at the outline I wrote for my finance dissertation? I left it in your pigeonhole last week.
Yes. Why exactly do you want to write a dissertation instead of taking the finance modules? It'll be pretty demanding.
Well, I'm quite prepared to do the extra work because I'm keen to investigate something in depth, instead of just skating across the surface. I realise that a broader knowledge base may be more useful to my career, but I'm really keen to do this.
Right. Well, I had a quick look through your outline, and the first thing that struck me was that you'll have to be careful how you set about it, as the way you've organised it seems unnecessarily complex. The data that you want to collect and analyse is potentially valuable, but you'll need to narrow down the subject matter to make the whole thing manageable.
OK. I'll have another look at it. I was talking to Professor Briggs about it yesterday, and I got some more ideas then. For part of the dissertation, I was thinking of trying to persuade finance managers from 3 or 4 companies to let me ask them about their company finances. If not, I think I'll have to change to another topic.
Well, go ahead then. I could give you some names.
Thanks.
So guys, that is end of section 3. So let's move to section 4, and again I have chosen 6 questions for you. So guys, first of all, while going through questions, let us also try to understand what situation is being discussed. As it is section 4, we know it is a monologue. Now is question number 19. Students should complete their work on 1950s. यानी कि students complete work on 1950s. On work on 1950s is very important keyword. If want to be allowed to continue attending lectures means if allowed continue attending lectures, उनको 1950s के ऊपर काम कंप्लीट करना है अगर वो चाहते हैं कि उनको इजाज़त मिले लेक्चर्स फर्दर अटेंड करने के लिए, या बिकॉज appreciate information about 1960s more, वो 1960s की इंफॉर्मेशन को ज़्यादा अप्रिशिएट करेंगे अगर 1950s के काम को पहले कर लेते हैं. अदरवाइज फेस पॉसिबिलिटी बीइंग फेल्ड फॉर देयर कोर्स वर्क, कीवर्ड्स पकड़ते हैं. अदरवाइज फेस पॉसिबिलिटी फेल्ड फ्रॉम फॉर कोर्स वर्क. फाइन. अब 20 के पर आते हैं. अकॉर्डिंग टू लेक्चरर बेबी बूम हैपेंड. फाइन. सो बेबी बूम हैपेंड, हम इसको ही पकड़ लेते हैं बिकॉज लेक्चरर ही बोल रहा है, तो लेक्चरर को हम कीवर्ड कंसिडर नहीं करते. सो नीड टू बी वेरी सिलेक्टिव while attending keywords. Now, because of relaxed attitude in 60s, यानी कि relaxed attitude in 60s की हम बात करते हैं, या during time of war और time of war की हम बात करते हैं, या people felt more secure, so people felt more secure की हम बात करते हैं. Fine, these are keywords. Then 21, in 60s the USA had 70 million what, यानी कि in 60s had 70 million, because this section is about USA, so USA will no longer be a keyword. So teenagers, babies, adults. Fine. Now let's move to question number 22. So again according to lecturer, हम इसको अंडरलाइन नहीं करेंगे. Compared to 1950s, 1960s were, यानी कि 1950s की तुलना में 60s की जो डेकेड था, what was that? Less conservative. अब हम कंजर्वेटिव को बार बार अंडरलाइन नहीं करेंगे, एक बार अंडरलाइन करेंगे बिकॉज इट इज़ अबाउट कंजर्वेटिव. सो लेस कंजर्वेटिव पूरा हमने किया, मोर हमने किया, जस्ट एज हमने किया, यानी कि कम था ज़्यादा था उतना ही था. Then question number 23. Literature changed the way women, means changed the way women. This question is about women over 40 treated by society, viewed issues of race. अब in society is common, तो हम society को भी अंडरलाइन नहीं करेंगे. Felt about their roles. Fine, ये औरतों के लिए है. And then lastly, question number 24, the rate of crime in 60s. So mainly this passage is going to talk about 1960s. So rate of crime in 60s rose 9%, was 9 times higher than 50s, was 9 times lower than 50s. So got to be very, very careful. And now let us start with audio.
We begin our examination of America in the 1960s with the usual caution. There is no sense in trying to understand any decade without looking at what came before. Those of you who still have outstanding coursework on the 1950s would do well to complete it now, if for no other reason than it will help make sense of the next series of lectures. But we must press on, and I'd like to begin my talk about the 60s with a reference to one of those things that came before, the post-war baby boom. With the end of the Second World War in 1945, there began in the USA an era of perceived prosperity and security. In short, people started to feel that the world was a much better and safer place to bring up children. So, at the start of the 60s, all those children born in the baby boom, 70 million in the US alone, were teenagers. As the 60s progressed, and as this large number of people approached adulthood, there was a noticeable shift in the balance of power, and young people began to have a voice in ways that were not considered possible in the more conservative atmosphere of the preceding decade. Things were moving forward at a rapid pace. The literature of the time brought out all the taboos. Everything was covered, such as race in, for example, the book To Kill a Mockingbird. The role of women changed, and equality for women, well, let's just say that once certain books were published, women were no longer going to be satisfied with their roles as devoted wives and mothers. Through literature alone, the whole fabric of society was challenged, and by the end of the 60s, things would never again be as they had pretty much been for the preceding 40 years. It was a decade of protest, civil rights protests, feminism, the rights of minorities, the Vietnam War. All these causes led to peaceful and not-so-peaceful protests on college campuses and elsewhere. People had been given freedom of speech, and they were going to use it. The crime rate rose to 9 times what it was in the 50s, as respect for the old order faded away.
And guys, that is end of this section and end of this video. So bye bye guys, and we will meet in next tutorial video. Praveen Khanna is signing off.